Hello, good afternoon and welcome to New Forest Morphs. My name is Paul and I'm here as your host with Jared, my cameraman and son. We're a father and son team working here in the New Forest and we are loving this season, Jared. We just put in a shift. We were supposed to go prawn fishing for salmon, but there's a temperature ban over 19, you can't go fishing. So we've invested our time today in doing a major shift around, a lot of cleaning, a lot of restructuring. We're both sweating buckets, aren't we, Jared? You're looking forward to a game of golf. So we're going to, Jared's just invested in a nice little pinger and he's hitting 300 yard shots at the moment. So I think we're going to get a buggy and we're going to go down and have a game of golf this afternoon. I think it's the plan, isn't it, Jared?
Yeah.
And then we'll wait for the temperatures to drop before we go salmon fishing. But when we walked into the facility, Jared, what was the highlight of today's activities?
The second Ultramel clown shed out.
Yeah, we've got to show you this beautiful. And you popped him. And
it's a boy. We've got a boy and a girl.
It's a boy and a girl. So we were very lucky.
Perfect.
Not only are we lucky with the odds, we're lucky with the sex odds as well, Jared. Let's bring them both out and let's see how they're doing. First of all, they seem to be settling in really well, Jared, into their new rub system. And you'll see there's some unique differences between the two snakes if you look carefully. So, as I say, this is the first Ultramel clown that we hit, which is a girl, and she's the one that might be het for monsoon, and if she does prove out, she'll be a very valuable snake for us to have. And then this is the other one, which is got slightly different patterns, but does have some really pretty smiley faces on the side patterns as well. So we could bring it out and have a look at it, and let's just see whether we can have a look at this. Just shut out today, Jared, isn't it just beautiful? And it's a little bit shy, but it's got the blushing on the dorsal. You can see that lovely blushing where you get the purples coming through, and on the side can you see the crazy faces? They've got crazy faces. They're like teddy bear faces, really.
They remind me of.
I
used to have a little treat called a BNBN. Do you remember that? BNBN?
I don't remember that.
They're like these little cookies that look like a piece of toast,
yeah,
with eyes and a mouth that look like that.
Yeah. But the head stamp is what I wanted to show you guys, and just look how pretty this head stamp is. And I think this is the one that I think has the prettiest head stamp of the two, and this is a stud boy. He's also got some really lovely flames coming up on his alien heads at the bottom, where you can see the teardrops are all flamed up, Jared. And it's got this absolutely beautiful head stamp.
I prefer the other head stamp personally.
Do you? Yeah.
Yeah, this one's got a couple, like, it's cool. It's got like the patches on it.
Well, you remember the Avatar guy, the baddie on Avatar, he had that claw mark on his head. So he reminds me of the guy of Avatar. Do you remember the claw mark on the...
I don't remember.
He's got that. But have a look at his head. He's got like a claw mark, as though something's clawed him. I think it's wicked. I think it's proper Predator.
That's very cool.
Yeah, I think he's proper Predator. But he's quite chunky as well. He's actually feels slightly bigger than the female. So I think that we'll build this boy up and then we'll be able to use him on some of our triple recessive projects. But he's got some lovely patterns as well. If you look at his patterns on the side, I'll try and open them up a little bit and show them off. But there we go. Beautiful, really, really beautiful. And they'll hold these colours. We're going to put DG into this as well, so that will help to maintain those colours. But absolutely beautiful, beautiful, beautiful animal. And you can see it's almost got tracks on the underneath as well. I don't think it's heptapied, but if you look underneath, Jared, it's got tracks. And he's again got small little circles on his dorsal, and he hasn't got the same overlap as this one. This one's got a couple of overlapping saddles. This one was trying to overlap but didn't go the whole way. You can see there's an overlap that's starting there but hasn't gone the whole way. So I doubt if he's carrying the het monsoon markings, this one, but we shall see. We shall see, Jared. And then if we look at the tail and the belly pattern, so let's have a look and see what the belly looks like, Jared. You want to have a look at the belly?
It's quite white, isn't it?
But look, it's got tracks on there. But again, lovely temperament, and look at those crazy patterns on the side there. Really beautiful. Really, really beautiful. So, Jad, you've put a picture on Instagram. Thank you everyone for your positive comments on Instagram and on YouTube and Facebook. We really appreciate that. So
what's to eat?
that one wants to eat at the moment. Now I don't know whether I should actually hold them together so people can see a pair together, Jared, but it's
At your own risk.
Shall I give it a go, or do you think she'll bite me?
I reckon don't touch her and let her eat.
Okay. What I'll do is I'll come alongside here and introduce each other to each other, but both in two separate clutches, but they are cousins effectively.
Yeah. Same dad, different.
I suppose same father and different
Sisters.
and sister. So they are related, but there's a separate bloodline going through this one, or a slightly different bloodline. But
beautiful snakes, huh?
they are absolutely divine, and of course it's inspiring us to really shoot for those double visuals, Jared, that we've got coming in our eggs soon. So I'll put these back, let them settle in, because feeding day is only in a couple of days. But beautiful
I reckon that one will
snakes.
eat.
Yeah. And we're having success on the feeding side. And look, he's periscoping, coming up, Jared. So again, lovely nature. And we check to make sure that they've got perfect size genetics. All their genetics look in proportion. There's no shark jaw, there's no king. And we check their tummy buttons as well to make sure that everything's all good there. And there's no hard lumps in them either. So we give them a little MOT. And I think we've got two really healthy snakes there, Jared. And in terms of intensity, are they both similar intensity? I would say this one has a slightly higher intensity, if I'm honest. And I wonder whether that is the het monsoon having an impact. Right, we'll slip them back, but really happy. Beautiful animals, and to see them both out shed is fantastic, Jared.
And to guarantee a boy and hopefully a girl. We need to resex her, but
yeah, if we end up with two boys, we'll probably make one available once they're up to size, which I think would be very much welcomed by a lot of our friends who would like to get into the project. But we'll see. If it's boy and girl, we'll keep them. If we end up with two boys, one boy will be sufficient, Jared. So we'll see what happens there. So let's slip those back. And the next bit of news on the hatching front is sad news, because we've lost one of our Partho clutch. And I came in this morning and the bug-eyed one didn't make it out of the egg. She wasn't able to absorb, and she had some kinking as well, Jared. And the other one has actually done very well though, so I'll bring out the one that survived. And the one that survived, just trying to see where I've put the Partho clutch.
is it one of these ones?
One of these, so should have Partho on there, and it has a name of a snake on there as well. Have you been reshuffling things around a bit, Jared?
No.
Should be a snake in here. It's not that one, I don't think.
Snake in
It is, there we go. I've forgotten to move the labelling across, is what I've forgotten to do. So, there we go. So let's have a look at this one here. I'm glad we've checked, because he's hiding behind there and we need to give him some water. And we need to also wet down his bedding a little bit. Have you got the sprayer, Jack? He's not out shed yet, so he does need some bedding to wet down a little bit. So we use lukewarm water so it doesn't shock the animal. And he's got a hide, nice fresh bit of bedding, and then we'll label that one. Now this one we've given as a gift to one of our families that came on Sunday that bought some snakes from us, Jared. And she fell in love, and it's Nat and Matt and their family, and I'll show you what they've decided to do. And this one here it's part of the Partho clutch. Now if you look carefully, it's actually not bad at all. It's actually a very pretty snake, and it looks pretty solid, to be honest with you. So I think we've actually ended up with one good snake here. Now it should be a female. We could sex it to see whether that would
Let it
confirm.
shed out. Let it shed.
We'll let it shed out first, but we will sex it to confirm it is Partho.
Yeah.
But we've decided to give this as a gift to this beautiful family that came on Sunday, and we've explained it's come from a Partho clutch, so they know that it's probably not wise to breed with it, although some people do. But she wanted to get into the Ultramel project, Jared, so I think she's delighted, and that's a beautiful one. And I will actually show you a picture of the family, because the family have given me permission to share this on YouTube. In fact, Nat is coming on Sunday, Jared, and she has come up with some ideas to help us with our new breeder series, because Matt, her husband, would like to get into breeding. And this is a picture of the family that are holding snakes, Jared. I'll show you what we've got here. So we've got Matt as the father, and then we've got Nat, who bought Noodle from us, and she brought Noodle as well. She's doing well. She's 300 grams, and they picked up some 30-gram Maltese from us, so that they can take her to the next size prey item. She's doing particularly well. They are doing an excellent transition on that snake, and they brought 2 of their children with them, which is Caleb, I believe, who's holding a banana pastel orange dream Apollo, and I think their daughter is Lizzie, I think, and she's holding a bell. She's falling in love with the bell, and they've all chosen their individual snakes, and they're in the process of actually building up a rub system, and they want to get into breeding, and we're going to help them with that. And Nat sent me a message today, and thank you, Nat, because she fell in love with Finn, and she's bought Finn off us as well, Jared. Finn is a proven clown boy. We thought he was possibly gravel clown, but he didn't produce a gravel clown for us, so we believe that he's a straightforward clown. Now, she may get lucky and she'll end up getting some gravel clowns and saying, Paul, he's actually got gravel, because the other chance is that maybe he didn't pass that genetic on, but it's unlikely. But I think he's a beautiful looking and very affectionate, so that's lovely. And there's a picture of Caleb, and he was holding Noodle, and you can see he's enjoying the connection as well. So it's all looking good, Jared. It's lovely to have these families over, and I'll just share. It was really funny actually, because you know royal pythons are called royal pythons because of Cleopatra, who used to wear ball pythons as jewellery. Well, when Nat was playing with Finn, he wrapped himself around her head, and it looked like a crown, and that's the aftermath of the crown coming off. So I thought that was really lovely, and settling in really nicely, and you can see she's really enjoying a new addition. And it's just so lovely when you see a family that fall in love with these snakes, Jared. It refreshes us, it makes us feel really good. So thank you, Nat, you're very kind. And she's got a marketing background, and she's given me a message, and it says, Dear Paul, she said, I've had an idea. So I used to work with magazines and interview artists on camera. For one of your videos, do you fancy doing an interview with me? I could sit you or Jared down and ask a load of beginner questions for new snake owners. We could even go into morphs and what the most common are and how to identify them, and ideal temps, why you recommend cocoa block, bedding and humidity. This is the stuff that over the forums all the newbies are asking. So this is lovely feedback for us, because I don't really go on the forums, but it's lovely to get that kind of feedback. So I said to her, yes, we can do that on Sunday. Great idea, thanks. And now I've got another message, question list, rough guide. Do you, for your semi-plan, your answers? It says, when it comes to getting your first snake, what should you consider? How do you set up your enclosures, and what should the temps and humidity be, and why? There's lots of conflicting information about substrate. What do you use and why? How often do I feed my boy or girl snake, and how often do you clean out the enclosures, and will my snake poo a lot? Do all snakes bite, and how can I tell if my snake might bite me, and does it hurt? And what do I do if it does? As a new snake owner, there's lots of talks about morphs online, and it's very confusing. What are the top 5 common morphs, and what do they look like? And what do people mean by the word het, and what is a recessive gene? And the last question is, so if I mixed a black and white snake, I wouldn't just get a grey babies, question mark? So there we go, there's a list of questions she's very kindly sent me for preparation. I don't normally have preparation. Normally people ask me questions, and we respond quite quickly to those that we know. But thank you, Nat. That's going to make a really lovely video for us. So really appreciate your input on that. Now, Jared, we've got the Partho clutch here, so I think we'll put this on there so we know we've got the right ID on this snake. And that one is destined for Nat's home, which is lovely. When you get disabled snakes and you want to find homes for them, when you've got families that are so caring and so loving, you trust them to look after these special snakes, and you know that they're going to look after them and they're going to spoil them. And Noodle's been absolute sport, Jared. I mean, she's so relaxed, so happy, and it's just lovely when it goes to homes that look after the snakes that beautifully, Jared. It's so nice. So let's put this one back. So now it's time to explain what we've done with the infrastructure of our building. Now, Jared, you and I worked on this today. Let's just explain what we've done. We've put in a 3-hour shift today and we've moved things around. So we've now created an extra 15 spaces for our grow-ons, and we've got 2 new pickups coming. So here are the new rubs. Now we've got the rubs that we've got are from Herb Exotics, and we've got like 10. You've got the built-in thermostats. You've put another 20 in here, and we've moved everything else along. We're going to move the fan to the corner because that's obstructing the fan flow.
Yeah.
So when Jared brings his tools up, that's moving into the corner, and then we've basically got spaces for the bigger girls, 50-litre tubs. So any progressing girls that need bigger spaces, they'll go into there. And then your gravel clowns, Jared, we're going to move them up today. We've got everything prepared, so we've moved them up into this area here, and you've got 4 setups here. So you'll see I've put in a clean water bowl, a small hide, because they're 600 or 700 grams. We normally move them up when they're a little bit bigger, but we've got to shuffle things around a little bit because we've got hatchlings coming, and we've got hatchlings that need to move up to the 12-litre rubs and the 9-litre rubs, Jared. So everything moves up, it makes space. We want to keep 100 main breeding snakes eventually. Our model is to be like Aussie and actually put the genetics into the snakes. So instead of having 5 tubs for 5 different genetics, we'll have 1 tub with 5 genetics in that tub. So the idea is that your workload reduces over time, but your powerful animals are getting more genetics, and therefore we spend less time actually cleaning, but we spend more time breeding high-end snakes, and that's where you're moving in the industry. You start to move that way. And as you see with the Ultramel clowns now, Jared, and if we hit the Exantic clowns and we hit the Hypopides, and we've got this one here has come out of shed, which is Colt. I've just cleaned the shed. He's the one that might be carrying Monsoon. Now let's have a look at him out of shed, and you'll see he's absolutely stunning. He's a couple of years old, but look how beautiful he is, Jared. Isn't he lovely? And we're hoping that he will prove to be Het Monsoon. And if he does, his offspring, half of his offspring are likely to be Het Monsoon as well, which means we'll have Het Monsoon in quite a lot of our collection. And that's really the key test. So that'll be probably sent to America, Jared, or to Europe, depending on which way we want to go. If we go via Europe, they can do it in Europe, or RGI can do it in the US, and we've got Grey Rider Reptiles, they do it, and I think there's one in Canada. I forgot to mention in the last video that for our Canadian friends, they've got their own shed tester as well, and there may be one in Africa that I'm not aware of. They're probably likely to be, so you'll find that there could be shed testing around each continent may have their own shed tester. So without any further ado, Jared, do you want to move up your gravel, because it's mainly your project?
That's right.
Yeah, or do you want me to move up? Okay. Right, let's start then with the move ups. So the first one is this one here. So I'll bring them out 2 at a time, shall I? Now, Jared, you've weighed them. Now you can see this girl's going into shed, but you can see that she is also splashing her water a lot. We have to do a lot more cleaning as they get bigger. I find that the cleaning becomes, so having a bigger space will make the cleaning issue, spot cleaning, easier, and also it gives them a chance to upgrade their food prey from 40 gram to 60 gram multis. Now we work on the basis of 10% of their body weight is what they can take comfortably. They can actually take more than 10%, Jared. So what I'll do is I'll just try to move her now. Now, what do you think the genetics are in here, Jared?
It's Pastel Lesser Gravel Clown.
Pastel Lesser Gravel Clown is what we're hoping for.
It's hard to tell with the gravel, but I'm pretty sure this one's got it.
Yeah, but she's a beautiful girl, and she's nearly 700 grams. So if we start feeding her 60 gram multis, she could be ready for not this coming season, but the following season is what we're realistically expecting. Would you agree with that, Jared?
Yeah.
So probably she needs another 18 months before she's ready to go. But she's doing particularly well. She's only a year old, isn't she? Isn't that amazing? You've been feeding them well, Jared. But they had a very quick feeding response, and they were an early clutch as well, weren't they?
Within a few weeks.
So what we'll do is we'll put the labels on in a second,
Yeah,
Jared.
if you keep that one at the bottom, and we'll stack them up in order that they're in.
So all their ID labels are on here.
So just move them across.
We'll move them in order, shall we? So this one here, Jared, is another girl.
Exactly the same, yeah.
And exactly the same. So let's bring her out.
And I'm betting on one of them having definitely gravel in it.
Yeah. Another top tip to help with the transition, Jared, is actually to move their bedding in.
Yeah, just put a handful in the corner or something.
Yeah, well, I'm going to do the whole lot, because waste not, want not, because we need to prepare these for new animals. So what you do is you take some of their bedding, which has got their scenting in,
In the hot spot.
and maybe if you move that, we'll put it on the hot spot. That'll help them with the transition, and that's a clever way of actually scenting them. So when we sold Finn with his tub, his water bowl and his hide as one complete caboodle, and it made it easy for it'll make it easier for the transition. Plus we sold them the Maltese that he's eating as well. So the key is to minimise the stress of moving, is to actually put in as much scenting and bedding as you can. I'll put a little bit at the front as well in case she wants to explore the front. And she'll feel so much more at home, Jared, with that. I know it sounds counterintuitive to put slightly soiled cocoa husk in here, but it actually helps. It helps them with their own. It's like moving from home to home in a way, and that's the idea. So I think we can safely. Look, she's bowl wrapping as well, Jared. She loves it. Maybe we'll be breeding with her in 6 months at this rate. Jared's desperate to hit his super gravel clowns, aren't you, Jared? And we've been wanting this project for 5 years. We'll do the same with this one, Jared. Let's move some of the bedding from this one.
Hers is very wet, so I wouldn't put much in.
Yeah, well, the thing is, she's going into shed, so in actual fact, giving her a little bit more isn't a bad idea. You know, we just put a little bit in there, and then that will just help her shed out.
Ugh.
Sorry, Jared, it
Hay
sounds like
fever.
it's hay fever, isn't it?
Mhm.
So that's probably enough for her, I think. 'Cause, that'll work fine, and then
There you go, little one.
So those two,
And that one.
that one on top. We'll clean those later, Jared. We'll change the labels later.
Yeah.
The other two are boys now, aren't they?
Yeah, they're both boys next
So
to
the idea is we're going to keep the gravel project together, because one of Jared's concerns of moving up this early was just remembering to give them the right prey item, because when you're feeding the hatchlings it's easy. So what I said to him, why don't we put them all together so that he knows there's 4 snakes that need those 60 grams, and it makes life a little bit easier. So this one we think is a
So this one I think is super pastel.
super pastel.
And lesser. Possible gravel.
Right.
Clown.
Okay. So we'll move him up in there as well, Jared. Shall I open up? So that's number 3. So he can go in there, and we can move some of his bedding in if you want to do a little bit of bedding for it. I think that'll help him with the transition. And I think he'll like that hide as well, because the little top tip here is a lot of people won't put hides in here thinking it's just extra work to clean. But I found by putting the hides in there at 600-700, the transition to food is a lot better. They feel really comfortable because now they've got a hide to be in a tight space, so they're used to a tight space, so they've got that option, but also they've got an option to explore as well. So they get the best of both worlds, Jared. So this is my honest feeling, is I think that in reality, and of course if they don't transfer and they go off food, which is a big worry, you can always move them back into a 12-litre rub, which is an in-between size. And we've got several 12-litre rubs, Jared. That might be another option, or even put them into a 15-litre or an 18-litre rub. So there are other options that we've got. So that's number 3, and then number 4, Jared, is this beautiful toothless chainsaw, who's got the ultimate love heart pattern, and we're hoping that he's carrying the gravel as well.
It's a lesser gravel.
Yeah. And he's a beautiful boy, and we'll put him into here, and there's his little hide. And again, he's about 600, isn't he, Jared?
Yeah.
A little bit smaller than the other ones, but the boys don't need to be that big. But we should be able to breed with him this coming season, don't you think? And that'll be lovely because he's a fine specimen. And we'll just move some of his bedding in as well. Won't put so much in because he's got what they call urates and things in there. We'll put a little bit of scenting in there for him, but I'm not going to put a lot because his urates, put a lot of urates in there. There we go. At least that gives him a little bit of home from home. So they're the 4 move-ups, Jared. We'll take care of the labelling later. So I think we've covered everything now, and we're ready for our lunch and golf match. I hope everyone else is having a good season 2 and a lovely weekend. Thank you for your love and support, and we shall see you next time. Bye for now.